Hello viewer. As a human that has a sense of being and object permanence, I know that games pretty much live and die based on the likability of and connections you make with its characters. An interesting character can, and I hate to say the gamer word, but immerse you into the world the devs create. And if we're talking about immersion, look no further than Guilty Gear Strive.
Oh, Mr. Dribbler, Guilty Gear is a fighting game.
Well, yes, and a great one at that, but the characters of Strive can be appreciated without having to press any buttons. In fact, the most impressive thing about Strive to me is how the developers use every possible artistic device to present their characters as unique and expressive individuals, each with their own shit going on. The easiest way to see this is with their designs. It's pretty plain to see that Guilty Gear, at its heart, is a series that takes heavy inspiration from dad rock 70s and 80s era bands. Seriously, there are musical references everywhere in these games. I would believe you if you told me Potemkin's upper left ass cheek was named after Led Zeppelin or something, which is absolutely due to the creator Daisuke and his love for old school rock and metal. It bleeds throughout every aspect of his character designs. Lots of them have cool ass jackets and crazy hair. It's a mixture of Western rock and roll coolness and Japanese anime weirdness. Oh, this design is missing something? Add a couple belt buckles on him. Character doesn't have a belt? Yeah, just keep putting more belt buckles, it's fine. Character is barely even wearing any pants at all? You know the drill, boys. The characters all look vastly different, and even have different origin countries too. My personal favorite is probably Gold Lewis. He's a heavy dude that brings around a coffin encasing an actual alien.
Aliens? Don't be ridiculous.
He just looks so cool and formal while also canonically having the combined strength of the entire US military. Rarely do games have a fat character where their entire gimmick doesn't revolve around how fat they are. I'll talk more about him later, but my point is that he's just one example of how Daisuke likes to play around with multiple tropes on one character and then flip the whole damn idea on its head. They just keep adding adjectives to the character titles. The gunslinging broken messiah, hyper-energetic martial fighter, secretary of absolute coomery and pool cleaning notwithstanding, plus ratio. You won't find such weirdly expressive designs in an anime game like, say, Melty Blood. They say you're supposed to understand a character by just looking at their silhouette. What can we infer about this character from Melty? Well, I can tell she's a girl, I guess. Now what can we see in this one from Guilty Gear? Well, you can guess that he's pretty damn tall and stands with a massive hunch as if he's staring down at you. He looks extremely malnourished and has very long goblin fingers, almost like the legs of a spider. Add in the huge scalpel and syringe and bam, you got some sort of doctor in a horrifying zombie-like state, which is exactly what Faust is in this game. No disrespect to Melty Blood, by the way. Strive has the best designs of any Guilty Gear game, and you can definitely say the same about the animation. So much love and care is put into each tiny little quirk. Faust's crouching idle animation exhibits his sanity escaping him, and that's something most players will never ever see. You also have the more obvious stuff like Baiken's walk. Now, you could say that it's to show off the confidence she has in her skills, but I think we all know the two big reasons this exists. Another example is Ramlethal. The way her blankie, which I guess is also a mouth, is used in different moves is cute and also terrifying at the same time. But besides that, they gave her a damn puppy doggy. And this even makes sense for her arc, since she was born as a killing machine and is only now trying to appreciate life after eating hamburger. A lot of care is also put into translating these into gameplay. For instance, the big burly characters like Gold Lewis and Potemkin have super strong moves that are very slow and short ranged. When you're playing, you can really feel the heaviness of these moves. And that makes the impact so much sweeter. As I said before, the whole series is a love letter to bands like Queen, Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses. If it makes a sound, there's probably a reference to it somewhere in the games. But not only is the music extremely stylized and just outright awesome, but each character is given their own vocal track that fits their specific character arc. For instance, you have Leo Whitefang's theme, Hellfire. He's basically one of the kings of Britain, and the lyrics describe the intense survivor's guilt he carries after leading his people through endless death and war in the front lines, to then be forced to put on a valiant facade as the country's leader. Kai's theme explains how he failed his family and his country for thinking of the world as black and white.
Never-ending road, a fate without color. That's the world we can't die.
So he wants to fight for everyone to show their own colors. Gold Lewis is pretty much the opposite. It describes him as a government dog whose sole purpose is to blindly follow his country's orders because he believes order will ultimately lead to peace.
It's not a big deal.
You also have the more lighthearted ones like May and Giovanna. May's theme is an upbeat love song that shows how much of a simp she is for Johnny. Which is a bit of a gray area since he's technically her foster father, kind of. Giovanna's theme is a Beastie Boys homage that pretty much just says, I'm a badass and I have a green dog. Mayumi Shintami does a perfect job voicing her, by the way. Also, it's a small thing, but I love how most of the female character themes are sung by female singer Aisha. Kinda helps personalize each song, almost like each character is singing their own theme. Every game in the series had the music as its main storytelling device. Baiken had the Edo Japan style themes and stuff like that. Having that little extra layer of depth with the vocals means the world for a series with the weirdest time travel multiverse plot of all time.
He's pulling his cock out!
I guess you could argue that it's better to flesh them out in a story mode with exposition and flashbacks, but they really don't need it. They're each given enough love and attention as is. That being said, there is a story mode in Strive, so we might as well talk about it. You know how SpongeBob is the SpongeBob? Well, Soul is the guilty gear, and Strive's story mode seems like the conclusion to Soul's character. The story of Soul is a tale as old as time. Wife gets sick, wife gets turned into weapon of mass destruction by best friend, wife fight back, kill wife. Wife's memories and consciousness get inserted into an already living being with their own sense of self.
Regret.
The story mode specifically goes over Soul's self-actualization. Through his time spent with his reincarnated half-wife Jacko, he learns to forgive himself for his past. He was at war with himself and the world for hundreds of years, hoping to achieve peace by killing, but Jacko allows him to see what peace really means to him: love. This theme of healing is seen throughout all the other character arcs as well. At least that's what the in-game lore tells us, baby! Like, we have Axel and Eno in the story mode as well. Axel is a time traveler that lost his girlfriend through time. At the climax of the story, he realizes Eno is her from a different timeline, and has to see her die in front of his eyes. Luckily, he meets her again in the epilogue. Pretty wacky stuff. There's honestly just way too much lore to go over each character in depth, but just know that it's kind of a controlled chaos. Each character lives in their own little worlds and feels like they're in completely different pieces of media, but each story is connected either to each other or, like I said, the central theme of healing.
And our revenge. Let's give it up. Together.
I absolutely love this game and its weird over-the-top charm oozing out of every design. This video is a call to action. I want you to find out which character speaks to you. I guarantee you there is at least one character that has that aura of coolness that makes you want to go out to your backyard and copy their Hadoukens and shit. After seeing Gold Lewis, I now bench 500 and also eat 5 Big Macs for every meal. Maybe that one amalgamation of lines and colors on your screen will help you find yourself and build your perfect world.